Today's lesson is on finding the midpoint of a line segment, and it's an even easier formula than the length one because it doesn't involve any square roots. Pretty much all you're doing is averaging your x-coordinates and averaging your y-coordinates to find that halfway point. So your formula ends up being x1 plus x2 divided by 2 to get the x-coordinate, and y1 plus y2 divided by 2 to get the y-coordinate. Okay, let's try some examples of finding the midpoint given endpoints. So just like with the previous video, for the first example, I'm just going to label x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay. Now our notation is uppercase M, and then I'm going to put of AB just to show it's the midpoint of AB. And now x1 plus x2, be careful with that negative, over 2, comma, 3 plus 1 for the y's divided by 2. And now I simplify. 6 plus negative 4 is 2 divided by 2 to get the x. 3 plus 1 is 4. And then we're going to divide each of those numbers by 2. So 2 over 2 is 1, 4 over 2 is 2. You can totally jump from the first step to the last one. You do not need that middle one. Okay, let's try number 8. So midpoint of CD equals, add my x-coordinates, and then I'll divide that by 2. Add my y-coordinates, and I'll divide that by 2. 5 plus negative 3 is 2. Negative 2 plus 4 is 2. And then again, divide our numerators by 2 to get 1, 1. Now, if you do end up with a number that is odd in the numerator, just keep the fraction. If you can't divide by 2 and get a nice integer, just keep it as the fraction and move on and deal with the fraction if you have to do something with your midpoint later on. Okay, so pause the video right here, and I want you to try number 9 and 10 on your own, and then you can take it up with my answers. Okay, so for number 9, 2 plus 7 over 2, negative 5 plus 0 over 2. And in this case, we do get those odd numbers in our numerators, so our final answer would be 9 over 2, comma, negative 5 over 2. If you had to plot this point later on, you can always turn your fractions into decimals just to make it a little easier to graph. But if you're actually working with the midpoint, you're going to use it with the fractions. Okay, number 10. You should have had 6 plus 0 over 2, negative 3 plus 5 over 2, and your final answer, 3 over 1. If you made a mistake somewhere, it might have been with the negatives. Maybe you mix and match the x's and y's, so really be careful with that. Okay, and once more, pause the video, and we'll do the last ones. Okay, so for number 11, you should have had negative 7, comma, negative 7 over 2 as your final answer. Be careful here when you're adding the negative numbers. Make sure they stay negative and make sure they're the actual right answer. And then for number 12, your final answer should have been 1, negative 3. Okay, so the formula is fairly easy to use. It's very similar to the length, the slope formulas. You're using x1, x2, y1, y2. The only difference for midpoints you're actually adding. You're not finding the difference.